Yeah, so here we go again. Let me just shut this window. It's supposedly a 30 speed limit outside my driver's side window. Apparently people do not manage. Surprise. It have been a while since I last talked, I guess. There we go. I hope I don't ruin structure in my life I've managed to start by talking about it, but I'll talk about it nonetheless, I guess. I have managed to not close my exercise ring on the Apple Watch by exercise other in quite a while. If in the evening it's not closed, I will just go for walks here in Tiergarten, which is where I'm at right now. My potential future uniform have arrived. This is it. Feel rather fancy. The only problem is I really don't like the sleeves being this wide. I'll have to figure it out, and I don't know how I feel about the shoulder patches, but that's something I'll have to sort, you know. I'm actually somewhat out of breath because I just come from my walk. Surprise. Was 2k only. Then again, I've been walking only 2k quite a lot in the recent past. It's about 2k more than I was walking before, so I don't think it's any issue. When did we last talk? I think Thursday or so, I'm not sure. Anyways, Friday I handed in my thesis. Might have actually been Wednesday. Thursday I picked up my thesis, signed all the hard copies. Friday I handed it in. After having figured out how to do a handwritten original signature on a digital file, which is you don't need to fulfill all the adjectives, you just need one or two of them, which means you can either handwrite it and scan it, with which is not original, or you can sign it digitally, with which it is original but not handwritten. I wouldn't consider the iPad handwritten, because that's still a digital interface, you know. Yeah, but I managed to hand that in. It took a whole 3/4 hour. 3/4 of an hour. Because I was prepared for some complications on the uni side. Because why would anything go smoothly? Which is why I handed it in on Friday. The deadline was today. Approximately 10 hours ago? I believe 10 hours ago, roughly, yeah. Well, not quite. 9.5 hours ago, just over. It is now 22 past 9 in the PM. The date is Monday, the 29th of July, 2024. The weather is okay. Could be a bit less warm, I guess, but it's not too bad, you know. I mean, it's Panama hat and shades weather. I really quite like this for potential new uniform. Back to the uniform subject. I'll get back to the uni subject in a moment. The trousers are alright. I just don't trust their pockets. I believe I'll either have to adapt to that by making an inlay myself, which restrains the pockets and is safe within the pockets itself, or changing the trousers, or by not making them my uniform. They're the same cloth as this, and they're really quite nice for summer. And I got long trousers anyways for uniform, but shorts is something I'm struggling with, or I've been struggling with. So I like these. They ain't got as many pockets. They have 2 rear pockets, which I'm not going to be using because big city life, you know. They have 4 pockets in the front. No watch pocket, which means my lighter live with the keys, which is something not too pleasant. I don't trust the pockets enough that I have the spare car key in them, so I'll have it in this chest pockets for now of the shirt, but that also means I need the shirt with these trousers. So I'll probably have to make inlays because I like the trousers for everything beside the pockets, and that's already a hard enough criterion to meet, to be fair. I already got all the supplies I need for making inlays, so I just need to get my arse and get and do it. Speed limit here is 30, I mentioned earlier. there was bikes going by just now doing 30, surprise, motorbikes, but the van coming up behind them, the minibus, was not doing the same speed. They were going approximately 50 for quite a ways still, and we are approximately 30 meters behind the 30 speed limit sign, which means the speed limit very much so is 30 kph here. Oh no. With uni, back to that subject, that was more than 30. They were not prepared to hand out receipts, even though they wanted me to hand it in. The party responsible for accepting submissions was not in the house, because on the 25th, on Friday, the 25th of July, Friday was the 26th, they were only reachable via email, and sadly one cannot hand in physical artifacts via email. I predicted this was going to happen, so I brought time, you know. Welcome desk was open for taking it. Was a person I had never seen before, so they are new at the company. But they were not open for handing out receipts. And I was happy to, and I offered to, for receipt, just take a selfie with them, me, and the thesis. And I'd be happy with that. They did not like that, because they did not like the idea of a selfie of them being on someone else's phone. It's their right as a private person. But that meant they had to sort out some other way of getting me a receipt, which means I then got a receipt 3/4 an hour later via email. Apparently there was some issue with that. I got an appointment on Wednesday afternoon to debrief the president and academic director of the uni. I did not see any issue. I had a chill time. I chilled with media technology people who were packing their stuff, ready, preparing for moving. And on the balcony had a couple of smokes, you know. Apparently someone saw an issue with that. I would not know which it was. I don't believe someone wanting a receipt for handing something physical in is over the top of expectations. Particularly as this uni make it so cover your ass policies are practical to have for any individual. I got my receipt. I'm happy I turned it in. I've got in writing from a party whom is responsible for receipts and so on, for taking it in, that they have received my thesis, which means I've got my ass covered. Different topic. I believe this one we can wrap up. This one's considered wrapped up, I guess. I've been coming here for walks for the past half week almost. Always parked in this area here and going for walks around. Couple of K, once or twice it was 3K. Yesterday on my way back through town, it was already dark out, and there was a scooter going enough below the speed limit that I could safely overtake them, which I did, no problem with that. But once I was in front of them, I realised their front light was not working, so I then put on my hazards, turned my lights on and off, because you'd hope they might see the hazards and see the lights going off and on and realise. Then I pulled over on the right, let them pass, trying to get their attention as they were passing. After which I proceeded to honk my light horn at them, my high beams. And they were just not there, for the lack of a better term, I guess. Not present. Which was slightly concerning, because, I mean, I tell people about their lights a lot of the time. Most of the time one don't have to tell people to turn them on. Hell, I've been told twice that I haven't had them on. Admittedly, both times was before I was even on public roads, but still, you know, people are fallible. And usually people thank you. I mean, I'll certainly thank you if you tell me some of my lights are out, or I've got to turn them on, or whatever. What I don't get is when people are not just unhappy about news, but don't care to receive the news to the point where they are not to be contacted. One would have to run them over to get them to talk or to listen. The car just shook from a car driving by. That was certainly not going 30 kph. It's just something I'll never understand, because at the end of the day, you want to be safe. You want everyone else to be safe. Isn't everyone's interest to tell everyone else if their lights aren't working or aren't on? Yet, I have now twice, once a car in the winter time, which I could understand that perhaps it was winter time, they didn't want to open their window due to that, and a scooter in summertime, for which I don't see any excuse, had the experience of people just not wanting to take the information. Earlier, I pulled up next to another car to tell them their brake light wasn't working. They were happy to hear about it. 2 traffic lights later, I had a scooter behind me who was permanently indicating right without intending to turn right by the looks of it. So when the light turned red and I knew I had time, put it in neutral, pull the handbrake, unbuckle my seatbelt, hop out, tell them, oi, you're indicating right, thanks. It's easy enough. I don't see any problems with that. But I really can't grasp, I guess, the concept of someone just not caring to know. I mean, they could be deaf, but I don't know how one can legally operate in traffic if one is deaf. Not to discriminate against the deaf, I'm sure there is aids and so on, but with those aids you'd be able to notice me trying to get your attention. I mean, if you're not blind and deaf, you'd notice, because me shouting at you as you drive past, waving my arms at you, flashing my lights, putting on my hazards, that's really hard to miss, man. Like, come on. I believe blind and deaf people, not to discriminate, but it's just reality. I mean, if you're blind and deaf, you know so yourself. Don't know how you'd hear me say this, but still, perhaps with a braille display or so, which does speech to writing, that might be a thing. Speech to text with braille, who knows? But I believe, I believe I can claim that all blind and deaf people are of the opinion that they have no place in motorised traffic, for their own safety and for others' safety. Because realistically, if you can't see where you're going, or hear if someone's coming up behind you, your survival chances aren't the greatest. I mean, it's one of the most lethal activities in the country, I believe, other than things like smoking, for overall deaths per capita per annum, would be driving or taking part in traffic. It wouldn't have to be driving, probably cycling by mode of transport, but still, it's taking part in traffic. And you can't be blind and deaf and take part in traffic, come on. I mean, at that point, you are not businessable, able to do business, which would be Erwerbsfähig in German, which means you don't got to worry about getting somewhere. You've got all the time in the world, and you'd probably even get taxis paid. Then again, I'm not an expert, and German bureaucracy can be an absolute nightmare, so you might be entitled to have taxis paid and to not have a job, but you might still need them anyways. I wouldn't know. I can't fault you for it if you can't sort with the bureaucracy, It's just something I can't grasp, though, because this person appeared to be doing deliveries, not groceries, food, takeout, at least according to their bag, which was orange, of a well-known delivery brand that does exclusively deliveries, and the brand itself is only the platform. The drivers are self-employed, and the restaurants employ the self-employed drivers on a gig-based basis via the platform. But, I mean, come on. And they just proceeded on without any lights. And the sad thing is, I didn't see anyone else flash their lights at them. There was oncoming traffic most of the time. Not while I was overtaking them, but later on, There was other cars in front and behind them at times, because I can't risk accidents to try and inform people their lights aren't on. And I was the only one trying to get their attention. Like, sometimes I feel I haven't got the memo. I believe I said this before, but there's a memo out, and it's okay to drive without headlights tonight. You can't see people, people can't see you, but it doesn't matter because it's okay tonight. I feel like I just miss memos like that. quite a lot of the time, you know. Something I'll never understand. On a different subject, I have some headphones I've had for the best part of a decade now. Shit, I'm starting to get old being able to say that, you know, about a lot of things these days. Some Beyerdynamic DTX 910, I believe it was. They are no longer purchasable. There is a spare cable for them because my cable broke. I bodged it for the moment, but it's not permanent. That cable is out of stock. Then again, for as long as I've had them, they've been discontinued. So I can't fault them for not carrying stock for something for that long. And besides that, it's just a regular audio cable with a 3.5mm TRS tip ring sleeve plug on it. So I've now ordered all the components it would take me to replace that cable. And not just replace the cable, but make the cable swappable. So it's not as much of a hassle in future. I got myself some 3.5mm TRS jacks. Female jacks. Sockets. There we go. Language is hard, you know. And I intend to mount one of those in the housing where the wire come out at this time. Wire up the insides to it and then just plug in cables. I might have to put a strain relief on the cables so they don't pull out if I move my head up. But I might just sort that with doing a 90-degree jack male TRS on the far end of the cable, which I have also gotten. Cable is due to be delivered latest day after tomorrow, I believe, so that's something. And then I'll have my headphones proper fixed again, because it's kind of a bummer doing something that dodgy. I don't know. I mean, it's only dodgy for me because if they fail and I need them, I'm kind of screwed. I got backups, but I don't like them. And being autistic, I don't like to switch. I'd like to keep these headphones for eternity, you know. I'm pretty sure I'll manage to fix that. I mean, I bodged them in the in-between. All I got to do is shorten the wire and solder on a connector. I believe that's well within my capabilities, so I'm not in the slightest worry about doing that. It's just something I figured I'd have to say, because I spent not even €30 on these in the first place, and now just with the socket, the jacks, and the cables, I've spent just as much again. Ironic, I know, on being able to keep them running. Then again, I don't think one can buy them or something of the like again. The cheapest used Beyerdynamic brand headphones I've found, cheapest new old stock, was something like triple digits, so it's certainly worth fixing them for that little money, particularly considering for how much I use them. I mean, I use them for my leisure activities of watching videos, of playing video games, and for all professional kind of activities, including doing video, I guess. For video with my thesis film, I'm still thinking I will not want to have to do audio, but I'm now thinking I'll make it a mashup supercut of whatever voice recordings I have access to, just to craft some kind of purpose to it, because I feel like it, I guess. Had some correspondence earlier today with a fellow member of student parliament, and they were rather upset, and they sent me voice memos, so I might misappropriate very small sections of those out of context. Same as I'll most certainly misappropriate Mr. Rowan Atkinson, I don't know if they're Sir, perhaps, probably, who knows, a speech on free speech, which is on the Free Speech channel. I don't know, find it on YouTube. It's a nice speech. Probably also misappropriate some others, and then make an artistic piece with it. Then again, I'm not doing a bachelor's on audio design, so it's going to be secondary, so it's only if I got spare time at the end of the day. Last Thursday, I did my shoot. I did Schlieren imaging. Worked surprisingly well, with hindsight only, not as well as I hoped for, to be fair. I'd initially not had the right glass, but shooting in the cellar of an equipment rental, had the privilege of being able to just walk building next door and borrow a 100 to 400 Sony FE lens, which did the job. I'd also borrowed two kinds of point light sources, spots, a tungsten 650 watt and a 575 Hydrargium medium arc iodine lamp. I ended up using this here Maglite torch LED instead of those powerful lights, because apparently the size of the light source is more important than the power. Spent most morning getting it sorted, and then actually the afternoon shooting with that. The main subject I ended up depicting was just candle burning. Well, the off-gassing of a candle burning. That worked surprisingly well. Like, yeah, okay, I didn't have anything supersonic or so anywhere near there, so my optical refractive index delta was rather small, so the contrast was small. But I don't really care, because in the end of the day, what I've been doing in the past, and what I will be doing with this thesis film going on, is mostly digital production. I can say I've captured some of the assets using real physics and in camera, which is good enough for drawing my connection to my thesis title. And I'll then have to do more digital post-production, which is not something I'm fond of, but I am good enough at, so... Got some nice, real complex Schlieren going on. It's just a matter of... Realistically, I'll be able to use at most posterized 8 steps. More likely binary black and white out of the Schlieren, just because it's low contrast, you know. It's grey on grey. Yeah. Managed that surprisingly well. The only thing I'm effed up is a very minor F up, which is I left my power supply and charging cord for my watch in the cellar there. I've informed the subletter I'll be there sometime this week to pick it up, and they're fine with it, so it's no big deal, you know. I'll manage, and I haven't needed it in the in-between, so that's all fine, I guess. Okay. A person on roller skates just was on the car road instead of the bicycle road. Nice. Without lights, of course. Actually, that's not true. They do have one light hanging over their shoulder, visible from probably the side and in front. Today we have two drinks of choice. One is bottled tap water, and the other is Schweppes White Peach. Because I figured I'd try it, because I like the idea of peach, but I reckon it's still it's better for mixed drinks, cocktails and so on, than it is pure, because it's a bit too sweet. And a bit too acetic. But it's drinkable. And it do have some peach taste to it, I guess. Before I come here to go for a walk and talk to myself and so on, I did go for a minor drive through town, just getting up to date on the current roadwork situation. It's always nice seeing roadworks, because that means the infrastructure is being upgraded, you know. A lot of places I do not go frequently currently have severe roadworks. A lot of places I do go frequently have recently had their roadworks done. So that's just a matter of time until new ones come, you know. One thing I've noticed more and more is on several bits of my journey to and fro my home, there is 30 kph speed limits preceded by 60 kph speed limits. Within the 60 kph speed limit, I am usually one of the fastest to get up to speed limit, and I am one of the strictest following of the speed limit, which means I'm not 5 under, as many are. Many are significantly above, but There, of the two groups, a lot of people are 500 and the others are long gone before I get anywhere. When I reach those 30 kph speed limits, I break down to 30 kph because they are valid from the sign-on. Sometimes I shift down a couple of gears a bit early, so I don't have to brake. But I always end up with a huge following of traffic in those roadworks behind me, which all went there before. It's because the people doing 45, 50, 55 in the 60 kph speed limit appear to be doing 45, 50, 55 in the 30 kph speed limit too. The only problem is I'm an obstacle and I'm a hindrance to them. But I do not mind being a hindrance in that case, because though I try to not hinder others, the rules are first. I do not have to aid them in breaking the rules, and I mean, all I'm doing is the speed limit. I'm usually actually 1 or 2 over, so no one can complain about me being too slow. If then they can complain about the speed limit being too low. But that complaint is not one you have to utter toward me. That is toward the authorities who assigned those speed limits to those places. It's just kind of odd, I've been having a hard time getting going in the mornings, but beside that, I'm doing pretty well, I guess. By the way, thank you very much for sticking around and watching. It truly means the world to me. For this time, I believe you're 1 or 2 people. Once again, assuming this here continue on with the same analytics as the previous ones. Oh yeah, on a side note, as we're on the tangent of YouTube, I guess, I have unlisted all but the previous 11, I believe, sessions of solar therapy. I may continue doing this or not, but they all should still be available via the publicly visible playlist. Just FYI. Figured I don't have to be searchable for that. It's good enough if someone want to see them, they can go via the playlist. So now you know. Thanks very much for sticking around. Find out something special, And again, you also found that out if you just skipped to the spot of the video. With driving, let's say, an hour around town, most of it going once across through town and to here, I usually find at least 2 or 3 people I'm able to tell about a brake light not working or rear light not working. I think it's kind of worrying, not because a lot of brake lights and rear lights aren't working, because there is hundreds of thousands of cars in the city. Few brake lights not working and tail lights half bad, but that no one else had told them, because in the end of the day, me telling them, they usually haven't known before, they usually don't know before, and I'm the first to break the news to them, and I believe I should not be the one to break the news to them, because there is other motorists out there, they have just as much interest in other people having brake lights as I do. Then again, I might have misunderstood how neurotypical society at large works. I don't know. It's just things I'll never understand. I mean, here in Tiergarten, here in the park, there is a bit of which the cyclist road, which is directly next to me, is diverted through the park. There's only one way because it's the right side of the road. Driving in Germany, It's a big enough road. Cyclists going the other way can be on the other side of the road. And there it's separated with a footpath, or to a footpath, by a line. And it's very well signed. Initially it wasn't a few months ago, but by now the signage is well sorted, I would claim. And I might be a bit more stringent than a normal person on signage, but yeah. I'd claim as well signed, yet many cyclists and pedestrians appear to not manage to stick to their side of the road there. Road, path, whatever. I think that's kind of odd, because you have to just follow the pictograms. You can even be an analphabet and you'd understand it. To not understand it, you have to have your eyes closed, be blind, I guess. or selective in perception as to not what is on the path in front of you, which is not good, because that's not partaking in traffic. It's being partaken in traffic. Guess that's just how it is, you know. Don't smoke, smoking kills. It's one of the few activities that's more lethal than driving a car or partaking in traffic as a cyclist or whatever. I will have to go shopping sometime soon. Actually, will I? Yeah, but I don't recall what for. I'll have to go shopping for something. But I'm still set on milk for a couple of days, so... Oh, right, now I recall. I've decided I'm going to go to drink markets, so... shops specialised in just drinks, to get my crates of drinks. Not because it's cheaper, but because, you know, why not? Then I got less to do with my weekly shopping. And my Spezi, which is the stuff I've been drinking for the past few weeks, which I've had a crate of, have gone empty. So I'll actually have to get a whole crate of that. Odds are I may tomorrow. Don't know yet. But I ain't got no appointments tomorrow. I'll do the day after, so why not do it tomorrow, you know? I don't know if I'll do therapy sessions after that. Solo therapy sessions this year. Just because I haven't done it before. And I'm trying to up the quality of these content-wise, not production-wise, by lowering the quantity. And I suspect if I have another circumstance in which I'm forcing myself to sit down and talk to myself, which today was not the case, by the way. Today I just felt I had to, not forced. I felt I needed to. There we go. I may suffer more from overdoing it again, as I've done in the recent past. So, odds are I may not. We'll see. It's surprising how many people do not know the rules of the road. I mean, for example, depending on which court's decision you like, whether you like the Landesgericht Bonn or Oberlandesgericht Hamm, you need speed limit signs at every junction, or you don't. You don't would be Hamm, you do would be Bonn. Berlin seems to follow the philosophy of Bonn, because on every junction there is speed limit signs, assuming the speed limit is not the national speed limit, which within settlements is 50. Yet there frequently is people who drive past 130 sign, and 10 junctions later, after 2 or 3 50 signs even, still do 30. And a lot of the time that is just not local reg plates. And one thing I've noticed in particular about those vehicles is they usually have more than one inhabitant. So I guess that's an observation. I don't know. I've been meaning to write Freemasons, a lodge, just because sometime soon they'll be going off summer break. And I'd previously tried and contact via their online form. To my understanding, lodges are in dire need of members, so I wouldn't expect them to have just not responded. So I suspect their online form is broken, so I reckon I'll try by conventional mail. Which I might even hand deliver, because why not, you know? I mean, I go by there frequently anyways, so, you know, might as well. Part of that is, I believe first off, I'm most certainly just going to make the letter ambiguous if I do conventional mail, because whatever else I say would be open for misinterpretation, which we do not want. They can ask questions and I'll gladly answer them. Yeah, like, I'll just do really short letter, but that's going to be another option to practice my penmanship, because with my thesis I ended up only doing about 50 pages of notes, which is more than nothing, but I wasn't happy with it, you know. For signing the affidavit, the statement of having written the thesis yourself, I actually unpacked my fancy Made in England Parker pen, which have been given down through at least 2 generations, I believe, on my paternal side. Felt nice signing them with that. I did sign them on the day that was printed to be signed, which is nice because, hell, you print them so either you put the dates in after the fact or you plan ahead and put the dates in before you have it printed. And I managed to nail it. Oddly enough, they wanted the submission date twice on the cover sheet. One time date of submission and the other submitted on, which I don't understand, but they had it in their criteria, so I've done it anyway. Didn't feel like more correspondence to find out they do not need redundant labelling. To cover my arse, that would be. Because I highly suspect they do not need redundant labelling on the same page, right above each other. But you never know. And the same as with the statement, they also want a digital copy, but they wanted it handwritten in original, the signed statement, and handwritten in original is not really digital. That is paper. Ooh, a car being towed that have broken down. Not good news for them, I guess. Kind of the car towing to be towing them, I guess. I've managed to drive more chill in my book. I'm still quicker than all the people doing below the speed limit if the speed limit is high, and above the speed limit if it's slow. When the speed limit is high, that is. When it's low, I'm slower than everyone else. And I don't mind. If the Plod want to complain to me about me being slow speed limit, they can give it to me in writing. The police president of the state, no, of the land or of the town, of the city, say, you, Ben, do not have to abide by speed limits. We do not want you abiding by speed limits. I'll not do it, you know. Twist my arm. There's a challenge, you know. Ask me to not abide by the speed limit and be the enforcing party, and I shan't. In that case, it most certainly wouldn't even be painful because I have the blessing to be doing it from the executive party, from the executive branch. So I guess that's how that works, you know. Time for a sip of tap water from the home country. In a Thomas Henry's spicy ginger bottle I got from my former local pub approximately a year and a half ago. Shit, time flies. I got it because I bought a whole bottle of the house drink, which was custom made to order. Don't know if it was legal, but they were happy to and I was happy to, so no one's complaining if it's not, you know. There we go. Too many cans in the door. There we go. Yeah, I think that's about it. A friend of mine have left their property here in the car. I'm hoping to be able to drop it off at theirs on my way past, because I will be passing theirs on my way home. So that's something, you know. Then I'll no longer have other people's property in the car, because I really don't quite like that. I'll have something on permanent loan, but that's fine by me, which is a gazebo in the back. The friend who lent me the gazebo on permanent basis, or whom I'm storing it for, really, they don't have storing capacity nor transporting capacity, so odds are when they'll need it, they'll need me to transport it anyway, which means fine if it's in my cellar. The only thing is I'm not putting in the cellar yet, because though I have gotten tarp to cover up my cellar, I haven't gotten around to it, and I am still missing a stapler to be able to staple tarp to my cellar compartment, floor, walls and door, just because they're only fence, it's basically a fence, with huge holes you can see through, almost as if it were an American bathroom, and for obvious reasons that is not great for putting things in of any value whatsoever. So I got myself some nice black and white tarp, And I'll just put the black on the outside and it'll just look like another rotten cellar. The black facing the outside, of course the entire top's going to be inside my cellar compartment. Just to be clear. Anyways, stay safe, I'll see you around. Hope you learned something. I don't know if you did. Cheerio. Thanks for watching.